I talked to the team last night, and I told them that they had just experienced the proverbial trap game, and we're not good enough to be thinking about being trapped. We need to go play. But the trap game, coming into the game, 1-6 team, FAU, had beaten us one time in their history. They had beaten us one time in their history out of 9, I think. And they had won one game. They had just lost in double overtime or whatever to South Alabama. So immediately our guys mark up 21 for us. And the humanness of this particular thing is hard to overcome. And no matter how good of people you are, and we got good people and kids that care and people and want to win and do everything they can, sometimes you'll be a little bit flat or a little bit maybe uninspired, maybe not quite to the maybe a 95% inspired instead of 100% inspired. And I'm not even sure it was that. We get down there, it's seemed like 100-mile-an-hour wind blowing one way, and had to deal with that. And of course, the other team has to deal with that too. But I'm talking about the Troy team, and so we lose the toss, and which puts them with, kicking with the wind, and if you'll notice the course of the game, every point was scored with the wind, with the exception of the last drive after we took the lead. And the wind then sort of laid. And I'm not sure laid is a good word. It's not lied, I know that's, but in the South they say the wind laid, I think, don't they? Anyhow, you got to give credit to your opponent, which I always do. Coaching, they were disciplined. They had very few penalties. They were hard to convert on from their defensive posture. We were not good on third down on offense. We were certainly gave up some third downs on defense, and their guy Wilbert was exactly what I said last week in here, that he reminded me of the guy from FIU. Big, tall, rangy guy, moves around good enough, hits what he's throwing at. So, and I read an article today by one of our friends out there that tried to make it sound like we were not very inspired, which I don't know that that's the case, but, I thought our kids really tried hard. We faced an opponent that was we were ripe for the picking, and they were ripe for the occasion, and we did everything we could do. Our best defensive lineman and our most experienced corner both missed the game with injuries, and I'm not even sure who else, but all that's just a bunch of muckety-muck to y'all and a bunch of excuses. So, I don't know anything to do but to start trying to get ready for Tennessee, which, by the way, they are an SEC team, and they are pretty good. And if you let those 3 or 4 guys that they got on their offense and in their kicking game get a hold of the ball, you're going to have problems. And quarterback's good enough, and the defensive guys look like an SEC team. They're probably not as deep as Alabama or some of those other cats, but they're good. They're good, and we'll have to find a way to attack them. We'll have to find a way to defend them, and we cannot kick it to either one of those guys. We'll do everything we can do to keep from doing that, and so we'll try to have a plan, which I promised the team last night, and we'll try to find a way to control them in all 3 phases, and we will have a plan to win. It's not a plan to go look good losing close. If it was, I promise you I would burn more clock. I'd burn 40 every time that we had it. But that is not how we play. That is not how we play, and that's not how we are successful to get wins, and that's not what we'll do. So we play the early game, the SEC game of the week, I guess is what to call it, at 11 Eastern. Is that correct? 11 Central. So, I hope we don't get any remnants of the storm or anything like that. It may snow. I don't know what it'll do, but we got to deal with the elements. Questions?
You always say that it's easy to coach after a win, but is it possibly easy to motivate them now after a loss, especially going into a Tennessee team?
Well, probably so. I think, there's certainly some points that you can bring out, some corrections you can make, some observations by others that will be certainly evident, and so I think you're spot on with that right there. And most of the time the frame of mind is a little bit better, but I think it's time for, if we're going to do what we would like to do, we better get some brow, and we better and our coaches coach hard now, and we try to give them the plan and make sure they understand the circumstances. And no matter how hard I preached last week, it didn't matter. I knew they were 1-6 myself, and I knew that our players were going to take that way, and it would take a shock treatment, which they were able to produce for us down there. It would take that to get us going, probably. And a lot of other things. It was homecoming, and there were about 100,010,000 seats up there. Not a lot of people, and so not that we're used to playing in front of capacity crowds or anything, but then their stadium is pretty, and it's a lot better than what they had before. A lot better, believe me. And so, that's. I hope I answered your question.
And at this point, conference championship possibilities are pretty much out there now, unless something crazy happens. The motivation now, trying to get bowl eligible.
Right. There's one undefeated team. They're playing a one-loss team this week, I believe. So, and we're 3 losses? I'd say we're trying to get 6 any way that we can. And with Tennessee and Navy and Ark State and Middle Tennessee, I wouldn't have picked them 4. I'd have picked me somebody else if I'd had a choice. But, and going back to the schedule, man, I told y'all this before, and I know you get tired of hearing it, but this schedule is hard. This schedule is local, but this schedule is hard. And, it's not to make any excuses again, but one of the probably top 3 or 4 or 5 teams in the nation that a head football coach would not schedule ever is Navy. We fixing to get them for 2 in a row, and our people love it. I mean, we're bringing in the Marines. We're probably bringing in a few submarines. And, we're going to fly over, and we're going to salute, and we're going to do all that stuff. But Navy's coming to town. They're going to be in the wishbone. So, hey, let's take care of Tennessee first. Try to get, Derek Dooley. I've been knowing that boy a long time, and his parents longer time, and he's worked his way to a point where he's got probably one of the best football jobs in America, and he's fighting his guts out trying to hang on to it and trying to survive some of the things that happened before he got there. And I think he's a great young coach, and I think, he's doing some things that if they'll leave him alone, he'll get it done. But, we're going to try to prolong it for a Saturday.
Corey, how'd you feel getting back out there?
Shoot. Sorry, felt that. Look, you got me thinking about it, Adam. But no, man, it felt like a little bit of a, getting back getting back used to it, getting back out there again, man. But you know, I by the end of the game, I started feeling more comfortable back out there. You know, it's just was a different feeling than I had, you know, against Western Kentucky, you know, throughout the whole game. But you know, I had a good talk, sat down with Coach Reagan and Coach E and you know, Coach Blaney yesterday, and we talked about it and you know, what they need from me for us to be successful, and you know, Dion as well. So we all sat down and had to talk about it. I think that's going to be fixed for this next week coming into Tennessee.
As much as any of the players that I see, you hate to lose. As much as any guy, is it difficult to channel away the frustration of losing and trying to flush that and get ready for a big game this week?
Shoot, it's tough going to class. It's tough coming up here. It's tough, you know, going back to practice after a loss. You know, no matter what it is, no matter what you're doing, no matter you know, what sport it is. You know, I'm a competitor, and you know, losing is just something that I don't like to do, even though it's been a little bit of a reoccurring event for us, you know, over the past 2 years. So it's definitely not that I want that to happen by any means. You know, I think, you know, Coach Blanton said it best yesterday in our team meeting. He said, you know, we got the guys are out there, you know, giving their 100%. You know, we're doing everything that we're asked. It's just, you know, some things just aren't going right for us when, you know, they usually would have back in the day. So that's what we're trying to get back to, is just, you know, making more plays, I guess, and, you know, hopefully that'll turn into some more wins.
Motivation at this point, conference looks like it's out of the picture now with 3 losses, but what's motivating this team to continue to go on?
Shoot, a bowl game, you know, making it to at least 6 wins, hopefully 8. You know, that would be a nice turn of events to get, you know, these last 4. But you know, just getting to that 6 first, and then seeing what we can do after that. Because you know, I think Sunbelt's going to send 4 teams this year, hopefully, if everybody gets bowl eligible. So you know, hopefully we can get up there and, you know, get those last, you know, 2 Sunbelt wins and put us 3rd in the conference. Because you know, this conference is pretty well even. I think, you know, throughout it. You know, obviously Monroe's done well this year, but you know, I think there's a lot of evenness in this conference. So I think that, you know, if we get these last 2 wins, we can definitely make a bowl game and, you know, end up 3rd in the conference.
You feel like, I mean, speaking of the next 4 games, I mean, they're as tough as any. So just talk about the road ahead and the confidence you have in this team moving forward.
Well, you know, obviously we got an SEC team who's, you know, obviously 3-5, I believe, but you know, they've going through a little rough stretch, kind of like we have the past 2 years. But you know, that was, you know, my childhood dream, you know, playing at Tennessee. So it's going to be exciting for me from a personal standpoint. But the confidence I have in this team is, you know, at most as it's ever been. You know, I think we got the competitors. I think we got the talent. It's just if we could get a couple games here in a row that we could just put it all together and, you know, just play really, really good Troy football and, you know, throw it around a lot, and hopefully I think we can hang with these guys this week. And Navy's playing better every week progressively. They put that new quarterback in. He you know, he's getting the job done. I think they put up 60 something on East Carolina last week. So they're playing better every week. We just we got a tough road ahead. We just got to go out and play every Saturday, man, with the intent to win. You know, not playing to lose. So
with the tough stretch Tennessee's going through, you guys feel like you're catching them at the right time?
Well, you know, me and Coach Reagan always joke about it. It seemed like, you know, before this year, I mean, every year that we always catch the team that, you know, when they're number 1, number 2 in the nation. For a couple of years, I think we played the number 1 team, you know, every year. So I feel like, you know, I think hopefully this is maybe it's our turn, you know, to get a chance and you know, take down an SEC team, which, you know, that'd be nice right now. So.
Does it make it easy to motivate this team, the possibility of knocking them off?
Oh, absolutely, man. I think, you know, this is a self-motivated team. I think, you know, we're even though we go through some rough stretches, I definitely think like this is a closer knit team than we've had in the past, just because of all we've had to go through and, you know, the ups and downs that we've had to ride. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely think the motivation is there for knocking off an SEC team, and if we do, I think that'll turn everything around for us, hopefully.
Is that stadium and that crowd intimidating to y'all?
No, I mean, see, I grew up, you know, not too far from it in Tennessee. So I mean, that's all I went to growing up is Tennessee games. So I'm excited about getting back, man, and actually seeing it from a different view and being on the field playing in front of all those people. rather than being in the crowd cheering for Tennessee. So I'm going to be playing against them. So I'm pretty excited about it. Shoot, I mean, 112,000 people, it's going to be kind of different.
And Rocky Top?
They play it a lot. They play it a lot up there. I have a dog named Rocky.
What
So
would you say the feeling in the locker room is right now?
I mean, after that loss Saturday, it was a hard pill to swallow. That's probably the toughest loss I felt since I've been here. Just losing to FAU, which I never felt that before, but pretty much our locker room was trying to stick together. We trying to just stay together for the team's sake. Like, we don't want anyone to start getting down on each other, getting down on the teammates. We just want to just stay together, finish our season, win the rest of our games, and just turn this whole thing around. It was so hard that we was starting to turn it around and going in the right direction after the FIU game. To just come back and lose a tough game like that, it can be devastating, but we're trying to make sure it's not.
After experiencing what you guys went through last year and now this year, you're going through a little bit of adversity, and you're trying to get back to that championship caliber team, trying to get back to bowl games. Just talk about having that experience and how this team is coping with it this year. It feels like you guys are really learning how to stick together when you're going through.
Yes, man. I mean, just being a freshman, my first year being a freshman and playing with Jarrell and the TB and all of them, and seeing how they kept our team together and how they talked to other teammates and tried to make sure we didn't get down on each other, and we turned that season around and we lost a few games, ended up still sharing the conference, going to a bowl game, and just that was really big to have senior leaders like that. But then last year, going through what we went through last year and not having that kind of senior leadership and not being able to stick together like we're supposed to and not being a band of brothers like we want to be and just losing so many games the way we did, it's tough. I know it's tough. It's tough for anybody to go through something like that and not get down on each other and not have the feeling of wanting to point fingers. But this year we're trying to go back to our old ways. Some of the same leadership that we had then, we're trying to make sure that we stick together as a team. That's our main focus, to stick together as a team and try to win some more games, get to a bowl game, hopefully.
You feel like you're one of those guys that's like one of the leaders of the team, and if you are, what are you saying to the guys right now?
Right now, I'm just Coach Ben. He been on me tough, just trying to be positive and make sure I'm positive for the team, make sure I'm positive for all DBs and our defense. And I mean, we have a lot of new guys that have not been around this program and don't know how this program works. So Coach really just on me to just keep everybody motivated. When they hear anybody talking bad to another player or talking like they're discouraged, just to motivate them, make sure they're ready for the next play. And I mean, I wasn't a very vocal guy the past years before, but now Coach it's nothing to say something or to try to get down on your next teammate. It's nothing to do that, but to motivate them when things are going wrong is something that Coach really just on me and on players like Charwick and Brandon Bryan and Kenora Davis. He really want us to make sure that our team sticks together. That's our main focus right now, is to stick together, something that we had a hard time doing last year.
Talk a little bit about that. You mentioned, you've been here now. A lot of these kids haven't been here. You've been at some of these tough road venues like you're about to see on Saturday. What's the key there?
I mean, key to a game like this is to just know that they men just like we are. Like, it's an SEC team, but they are 19, 20, 21-year-old men just like we are. Like, we work hard. We work just as hard as they do, and you just can't go into a game like this. You can't go into a game like this expecting just to have a good showing. We have to go into a game like this expecting to get a win. Even coming off a loss the way we did last week, we have to expect to win no matter what. That's the only way you will be able to have a good showing or to come out with a W.
To put you in the record books, how do you feel about being there with that kick?
I mean, it's exciting. Passed up two guys that were, I think Adam was telling me before, the guy won the national championship with one of them, and then the other kicker was Mikey Taylor, the guy that was here last year. So, overcame two pretty big kicks. But, I'd much rather had the win, but it's a pretty good feat, I guess.
There was some pretty big win that day. So did the win, especially for a kicker, obviously it's a good thing and a bad thing. Did the win maybe help you out a little bit on that one?
When you're on the sideline, you'd go out there and think, the wind's in my favor, and then you get out there and it would be doing something completely different. The stadium somehow was swirling terribly. So, in warm-ups, I'd kick one and I'd miss left, and I'd kick the next one and it'd miss right. And you'd kick the next one and go right down the middle. So, there really wasn't any play in the wind. And I guess I just got a lucky gust right then because I hit it left because I felt it coming over my left shoulder, and it faded back just how I needed it to. So I guess it was a little bit of luck.
What's your mentality when you've got to get called on to make a kick that big?
Jock, my holder, does a great job of calming me down because usually when I get out there, I'm just wanting to cream it, and he always tells me, calm down, you got enough leg, don't try and kill it, and usually that helps me out a lot.
Well, talk about your role a little bit. You came in here supposed to be the punter. Maybe kick field goals or not, but your biggest contributions so far have come with your leg on field goals.
I came in here as a punter. I just punted last year in junior college, but my freshman year I kicked as well. So I told Coach Wasden when I came in I'd like an opportunity to try out for kicker too, and he gave me that opportunity, and I guess he thought that I was the best man for the job. So it's kind of came unexpected. I think more for them than for me because I thought I could do it, but luckily I've filled the position well, I think.
The kicking game this year has been pretty good. Got a pretty good number, especially personally on there. How do you feel that contribution to the team? How that's helping things out?
I'm just trying to help my teammates out. I think of that more than I do the stats. I try to anyway. A lot of times when we're in a field goal position, we've got to have those 3 points because we haven't exactly been way up on opponents this year. So every point counts, and that's the kind of way I look at it.